A few weeks back, I thought I had it all figured out. Not in some deep, soulful way, but in a real, practical sense. Life was solid. I wasn't rolling in dough like a tech mogul, but I kept my pop's old factory humming along in Philly, pulling in enough to cover the bills and sock away some extra. One day, I'd kick back with a decent chunk saved up. That habit of pouring profits back into the business? All my dad. He never took a paycheck, so when his second marriage tanked, his ex walked away with zilch. Never gave it much thought. Guy was a skirt chaser till his last breath. Me? I was different. Family was my world. My wife, Diane, and our girl, Bethany, they were my everything. Used to be, anyway. Now that pride I carried feels like a punch I never saw coming. I keep replaying every moment with Diane and Bethany, hunting for clues I was too dumb to spot, hints they were playing me. Even Bethany, my own kid, dropped the bomb that blew it all apart. It all started one Saturday morning. I was out front in our Montgomery County yard, trimming the grass early to clear my day for a car meet. My 2010 Camaro SS was polished and ready, parked safe in the garage. Bethany rolled up, gave me a quick squeeze, and headed to the deck to chat with her mom. I stole a few glances their way, figuring she was hitting Diane up for cash again, but their talk looked heavy, serious. They didn't clock me walking over until I caught words that hit like a sledgehammer. "Bethany, how could you be so reckless?" Diane hissed. "Mom, chill, it was one time," Bethany shot back, whining. "It wasn't even a big deal, just a thrill. I'm not ditching Jared. He's just predictable, you know?" Diane's voice sharpened. "He's your husband, Bethany. He adores you. If you're bored, fix it. I can't believe you pull this." I killed the mower's engine. They spun around, spotting me. Diane's face was all fury. Bethany looked ready to bite back. "Tom, talk some sense into her," Diane barked. She went to a party, got wasted, and hooked up with some random guy while Jared was on a work trip. Bethany rolled her eyes. "Geez, Mom, why not scream it to the whole block?" Then she turned on me, her tone venomous. "You and Mom are still tight, right?" That one stung deep. Diane's jaw dropped when she saw my face twist. "It was just one night, Dad, and I was trashed," Bethany went on. "I thought about doing it again, clear-headed, but it's not like I'm running around on Jared like Mom did." Diane went ghost white. "Mom, you okay?" Bethany asked, then caught the hurt in my eyes. She stepped closer. "Tom, I'm so sorry," Diane said, voice shaky. "Stay back," I said, ice in my tone. "What's happening?" Bethany asked, confused, her eyes darting between us. Then it clicked. "Wait, you didn't know? Mom said you did." I locked eyes with Bethany. "Burn this moment into your brain," I told her. "That's exactly how Jared's gonna look when he hears this. You better tell him tonight." Her face tightened. "Dad, if it'll crush him like this, I can't." "Then you'll lose him," I said. "If he hears it from someone else, like me, it'll cut deeper. I might even call him myself, see if he wants to split a lawyer." Her eyes went wide. "A lawyer? For what?" "Maybe he'll want out, too," I said. Diane tried to cut in, softer now. "Tom, you're hurt." "You're damn right I'm hurt," I snapped, glaring at her. "I treated you like gold. Name one thing I didn't do for you. And now I find out I'm married to a cheater, and my kid's taking notes from you." "I know I messed up, Tom," Diane said, barely above a whisper. "Oh, so you get that I feel like an idiot?" My voice broke, raw. "I spent years bragging about you too. You were why I busted my ass." Silence hung heavy. "Not anymore," I said, colder now. "I've learned to move on. That's gonna come in real handy." I stared Diane down. "Who was he?" She froze, tears welling. "Why does it matter?" "It matters to me," I said. "I want a name." "What are you gonna do?" she asked. "I'm gonna find him," I said. "And I'm gonna wreck him." Her voice dropped. "He's married, Tom. They're struggling, too. And we're not struggling now." I fired back. They both flinched, probably thinking I might lose it. Truth is, they weren't wrong to worry. "I'm hitting the classic car expo tomorrow," I said, trying to keep steady. Diane nodded. "I know, Tom. I'll come with you." We can talk on the drive. No, you're not, I said. I'm not my dad. What's that got to do with this? She asked. Don't call me anything but Tom, I said, voice like a blade. My dad ran around with women he had no business touching. I don't. And I don't keep company with people who stab me in the back. We're not going anywhere together. Next time we talk, it'll be in court. Tom, please, Diane sobbed. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't cut it, I said, sharp. This is the only talk we're having. She stepped closer. If we don't talk, how do we fix this? I held up a hand. Say sorry one more time, and I'll lose it. The neighbors probably already heard enough. We're done. I turned, my voice final. After the expo, I'm filing for divorce. Be gone when I get back. No, Diane cried. Tom, I love you. I don't want this. And I didn't want a wife who lies, I shot back. But here we are. Tears poured down her face. We can fix this, she begged. You had your shot, I said, cold as stone. When I asked who he was, and you dodged, you chose him over us. You protected his marriage, not ours. But, she started. No, I cut her off. That was your mistake. I'll sue him for torching our life, and I'll get his wife to back me up. If she can't afford a lawyer, I'll cover it. She stared, like she didn't know me anymore. Maybe she didn't. I wasn't the same guy. I'm finishing the yard, I said, heading out. Then I'm crashing at a hotel after the expo. I want you gone. Tom, please, she whimpered as I fired up the mower. I paused just long enough to look at Bethany. Bethany, tell Jared. If you don't, I will. Then I cranked the mower and got back to it. As I worked the yard, the whole mess felt like a fever dream. I was losing it, but mowing, prepping for the car meet, it wasn't me dodging reality. It was me clinging to routine to keep from falling apart. Diane and Bethany kept at it on the deck, their voices sharp. Eventually, Bethany stormed off. Diane sat there, staring at me. Every pass I made, she looked like she wanted to say something. I didn't give her the chance. When I was done, I stowed the mower and headed upstairs to pack. Tom, can we talk? She asked, voice soft. I stopped, turned to her. What are you up to? Diane asked, her voice soft but shaky. Just taking a final glance at this house with you in it, I said, my tone flat. We can work this out, she murmured, tears glinting in her eyes. That only happens if both people give a damn, and I'm done. Our place in Columbus, Ohio, sat about an hour and a half from Cleveland, where the big auto expo was going down at the convention center. It wasn't just a Camaro deal, full-on showcase, every kind of classic ride you could imagine. Exactly the kind of thing to pull my head out of this mess. Hell, maybe I'd even hang around for the drag races after. One thing was for sure, I'd have a lot more time on my hands now. All the grinding I did for my family, the late nights, the missed weekends, none of it meant a thing anymore. As I hit the road, my mind wandered back to the night I met Diane in college. It was a packed house party, music thumping, bodies everywhere. I spotted her across the room, raven hair, eyes like a clear summer sky. She was holding hands with some giant dude who barely seemed to notice she existed. Then he vanished into the crowd, and I saw my shot. I grabbed a couple of sodas from the cooler, walked over, and offered her one. I don't drink, she said, eyeing the can. Good, I said, flashing a grin. Neither do I. She tilted her head, curious. Then why bring two? Figured I'd need both to keep my cool, I said, holding up the second can. Talking to you's a little intimidating. Her lips curved into a warm, unguarded smile. Intimidating? Me? What's got you so nervous? Just standing next to the prettiest girl in the room, I said, no hesitation. That smile of hers deepened, but her voice turned soft, almost sad. Not everyone sees it that way. And you won't stick around long. I'll stay as long as you'll have me, I said. She glanced away, barely audible. I wouldn't mind, but it's not up to me. I've got a boyfriend. I shrugged. If you're smiling when you say that, maybe it's time to find someone who actually gives a damn about you. Her smile flickered back for a moment, then faded. She closed her eyes. He's huge, you know. Like, twice your size. Yeah? I said, unfazed. She opened her eyes slow. He's standing right behind you. I turned. Guy was a mountain, and he looked pissed. I kept my cool and handed him a soda. He cracked it open with a flick of his wrist, downed it in 2 gulps, and let out a loud belch. His buddies nearby hooted like it was a party trick. "Why are you talking to my girl?" he growled, stepping close. "You know that's rude, right?" I said, not backing down. "It's a party. I brought you a drink. Maybe grab me one while you're at it." He blinked, muttered something like "my bad," and shuffled off. "Catch you later," he grunted at Diane. She looked at me, that smile creeping back. I handed her the extra soda. "If he can't find one, give him this." After that night, we started hanging out more. Diane was kind, loyal, drop-dead gorgeous, and totally wasted on Greg. He was a slow-moving linebacker with NFL dreams, always draped in girls chasing his minor campus fame. Never said no to them either. One time, I saw him slip off with a curvy redhead while Diane sat waiting at the party. Smart as she was, Diane stuck to easy classes, no major, no real direction. One night, she called me, voice low. Greg was probably off with someone else again. "You must think I'm a loser," she said. "Talking to you every night, knowing Greg's screwing around." "I don't think you're a loser," I said. "Some of your choices puzzle me, but Greg's cheating. That's just more time I get to spend with you." "Why?" she asked. "I thought we were just buddies." "That's the issue," I said. "I want more. I'm hoping the more we hang out, the clearer it'll be that I'm the better pick." She went quiet, then switched gears. "Besides Greg, what else about me catches you off guard?" "Your classes," I said. "You're sharp, but you're coasting. Why not challenge yourself?" She gave a small smile. "I don't care about a career. I just want to be a good wife, a good mom." I stared. "If that's the plan, why waste time here? Why not take classes that actually help with that?" Diane shrugged, arms folded loose. Greg's big plan was going pro. To stay on the team, he had to stay enrolled. So, I took the same classes, helped him out. Wrote his papers. He aced those. Flunked the exams, but the profs called it test jitters and gave him extra assignments. He squeaked by. I raised an eyebrow. So the deal was he'd hit the NFL, you'd get hitched, and live some fairy tale life? "Pretty much," she said, her voice bitter. "Till he starts cheating. First with the maid, then the neighbor, then who knows." "Diane," I said, soft but firm, "he's not gonna stop, married or not." "He will," she mumbled, but it sounded like she was trying to convince herself. "You deserve better," I said, holding her gaze. Then she leaned in and kissed me. Not a hesitant peck, a real, deep, electric kiss. But just as quick, she pulled back, breathless. "No," she said, voice trembling. "You need someone who sees you, Diane," I said. "Someone who wouldn't ditch you the second some chick flirts. Someone who sticks around." "That's me." She tried to laugh it off, voice cracking. "So, you're into dark-haired girls, huh?" "This isn't about looks," I said, dead serious. "I've never crossed a line." She looked confused. "Then what's this? Why were you always here?" "If you want me gone, just say it," I said, voice low. She didn't say a word. I softened. "I'm here because I love you. Have since that party. I know it's a long shot, just like you and Greg, but love makes you believe in crazy stuff." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Like what?" I paused, then shook my head. "Forget it. I'm done for tonight." I started to walk away, but she called after me. "Tom, you'll see me tomorrow, right?" I turned, a faint smile tugging at my lips. "That's the thing about love. You keep showing up, even when it stings," Diane said, her voice catching. And just like that, 2 years slipped by. I stayed true to a woman promised to another guy. Missed out on other shots at love. It's not like I was hard to look at, I just couldn't care about anyone else. Nobody held a candle to Diane Harper. Things started to change, though. That winter, she handed me a bottle of aftershave, told me to wear it just for her. Could have smelled like motor oil, and I'd still splash it on daily. On the last day of classes, she grabbed my hand, squeezing it tight as the final bell rang out across campus. Don't wear it for other girls, she whispered, her eyes locked on the leather wristband she'd given me. I won't, I said, my chest already tight at the thought of her leaving. Her voice shook. I'm gonna miss you so bad. It's just 3 months, I said, trying to sound solid. I'll be working with my folks in Harrisburg, stacking cash. When fall hits, you'll be back, waiting on Greg, and we'll have more time. She shook her head, tears welling. 3 months feels like forever. I gripped her hand tighter. It'll pass quick. Damn it, Tom, she said, her voice cracking. I think I love you, too. Why's life gotta be so cruel? She broke down, shoved something into my hand, and bolted. I stood there, stunned. She loves me. I looked down, a folded scrap of paper with her number and 3 words, call me, please. And I did. Long-distance calls weren't cheap back then. I probably burned half my summer job paid dialing up Lancaster. Funny thing? I talked to her more than Greg did, and he was practically her neighbor. When I got back to campus that fall, I wasn't ready for what came next. Barely had my bags unpacked when a heavy knock shook my door. I opened it, and there was Greg, filling the frame like a linebacker straight out of a playbook. Where you been? He growled. Whatever you think I did, I didn't, I said, hands up. Just got in. That's the issue, he muttered. I've been here 3 days, and I'm swamped. I need you to do what you did last year. I raised an eyebrow. And what was that? You know, keep Diane company while I'm tied up, he said, like it was nothing. Keeps other guys away. Lets me focus on training. Once we're hitched, football's my ticket to the big time. I owe you, man. When I sign that fat NFL deal, I'll hook you up. I stared, jaw tight. Right, so I'm your stand-in boyfriend. He didn't catch the sarcasm, just turned to leave. I couldn't resist. Hey, Greg, I called. The NBA's basketball. You're football. That's the NFL. He stopped, frowning. Which one's the racing thing? NASCAR, right? Nope. Damn it, he grumbled. My cousin told me that. Gonna kick his ass. He stormed off. Not 20 minutes later, Diane showed up. That last year changed everything. We were glued at the hip. When we weren't in class, we were stealing kisses. By spring, things got heated. She felt guilty about Greg, so I never pushed, but every goodbye hurt more. I want you so bad, she told me once. Kissing you beats anything with Greg. She paused, eyes distant. If we ever went further, it'd be unreal. You've only been with him once? I asked. She nodded. I keep hoping summer never comes. She sighed. The draft's soon. If Greg gets picked, we move, and I lose you. But I love you, Tom. My heart nearly burst. I loved her too, but I told myself maybe the summer break would help me let go. Then came the curveball. Greg didn't get drafted. Not one round, no calls, no interest. Lost his agent, too. He even had me call a team in Vancouver. I'm calling for Greg Thompson, I said. Who? The guy snapped, then hung up. Later, I got a look at Greg's scouting report. Brutal. Big guy, but too slow, no instincts. Teams had tapes showing him getting danced around on the field, useless by senior year. No degree, no eligibility, no plan. Greg fell apart. Skipped classes, hit the bottle hard, spiraled. Diane didn't seem too torn up. In a way, it's a relief, she told me. Now I don't have to leave you. I couldn't believe it. He'll figure it out, she added. But for now, I get you. From the start, she'd been this impossible dream. Even when she said she loved me, I half doubted it. Now it felt real. But love's only worth something if you're ready to fight for it. Don't give me that look, you dope, she said, laughing through tears. I said I love you, too. But I love Greg, too. I didn't think you could love 2 people, but I swear I do. I stood there, speechless. I'm still marrying Greg, she whispered. It's what everyone expects. If I don't, it's like my whole life falls apart. She didn't sound convinced. Over those 2 years, she'd spent way more time with me. Greg was always off, distracted, fooling around with other girls. I told myself if I stayed patient, she'd pick me. Truth is, I wasn't letting her go. I loved her too much. But when you love someone that deep, you don't force it. You just want them to be happy. So I didn't push. I listened. I hoped. Deep down, I pictured a life with her, one where I gave her everything she dreamed of. But I left it to chance, rolled the dice. Somehow, I got lucky. It wasn't instant. It was slow, messy. The first big shift came when they scrapped their plans to head back to Lancaster. Greg didn't want to slink back to Lancaster, a loser. So they stayed put in Indiana. He tried landing jobs, but he was useless at anything that wasn't football. Bombed every gig, still chasing pipe dreams of a comeback, NFL, CFL, even arena leagues. Nothing panned out. Meanwhile, he kept scarfing down food like he was still in training camp, but without the workouts. 8 months in, he looked like he'd swallowed a tire. The one silver lining? I could see Diane whenever I wanted. She never flat out said Greg was tanking, but she told me she loved me every single day. The first crack in their setup showed when Diane told me she'd started waitressing. Said it was tougher than she expected. They were leaning on her tips just to make rent. Then one afternoon, while I was at the factory, my phone lit up with a frantic call from her. She was bawling, begging me to come get her. I'd never been to their place, but it was only about an hour from Columbus. By then, I'd been running the family business for 3 months. Before that, I'd taken a job outside the company after college, wanting to prove I could stand on my own. My family didn't love that. My older brother, Carl, was a high school coach, and my younger brother, Vincent, wrote novels. Neither wanted the business, but they were happy cashing the checks it spit out. When Pop's health started fading, everyone figured I'd take over. I'd worked summers at the factory, knew it inside out. My brothers only cared about their cut. Pop finally laid it out. "You're wasting your time," he said. "You're just another suit taking orders from guys who've never touched a machine. Why settle when you can run the whole damn thing? It's yours, Tom. Your brothers don't give a rip." He lived 3 more years, long enough to meet his granddaughter. Taught me the ropes, how the business only took one hit during his divorce, how he shielded assets with a trust, how he lived large on a paper income of $200 a week. Shady, maybe, but sharp. Swore no woman would ever touch his money again. Nothing braced me for Diane's apartment. Place was a dump. I didn't even want my Camaro parked out front. She was on a bench outside, sobbing, a duffel at her feet. When she saw me, she sprinted to the car. Then Greg's head popped out a window. "Take her," he yelled. "She's useless. Just wanted to mooch off me. If you want a chick who only shows up when she's desperate, she's yours." He slammed the window shut. Never saw him again. On the drive back, Diane spilled it all. She'd pulled 2 double shifts in a day, came home, and found Greg in bed with a curvy brunette. When she called him out, he laughed, saying she was naive to think he'd ever change. Even bragged about saving cash by hooking up at home instead of a motel. The woman was sprawled out in Diane's bathrobe, flipping through her wedding magazines. That broke her. She grabbed a bag, called me, and bailed. I had to get back to work, so we stopped for burgers and ate in my office. Told her I'd help however she needed. Offered to fly her back to Lancaster, but she said she just needed a week to think, maybe give Greg one last shot to turn it around. I wasn't big on history, but I was itching to start a new story with her. That afternoon, I handed Diane my credit card and had my assistant drive her to grab some clothes. Moved her into my spare room. She never left. Felt like we'd never been apart. She just didn't go back to Greg. A few weeks later, I took her to a family barbecue. My stepmom pulled me aside. "Don't let her slip away, Tom. She's the real deal." Before I could respond, Diane turned to me. "I've just been waiting for you to ask." Stunned, I dropped to one knee. "Diane, I don't have a ring yet. But if you say yes, we'll pick one out tomorrow. Will you marry me?" "Yes," she shouted before I finished. Things snowballed from there. Next day, my stepmom, Diane, and my sisters-in-law dove into wedding plans. Diane called her folks. They flew in that weekend to meet me and grill me about Greg. Her dad even paid Greg a visit. Whatever he said must have been heavy. When he came back, he shook my hand, gave his blessing, and Greg's name never came up again. Pretty sure he crossed a line her dad wouldn't forgive. For over 25 years, I thought I'd kept my word. Thought I'd made Diane the happiest woman on earth. Guess I was dead wrong. The drive to Cleveland was a haze. My Camaro ate up the highway. Kept glancing at the speedometer, forcing myself to ease off. Found a motel near Lakewood, checked in, set my alarm for 8. But at 7, my phone buzzed. "Hello," I mumbled, voice rough. "You sound as rough as I feel," Diane said. "Can we talk now?" "You calm down?" "Don't want to talk," I said, flat. "I gave you everything, Diane. Never said no. Loved you enough to build a perfect life." "We had one," she jumped in. "Tom, we've been together almost 30 years. That means something. We can fix this." I was happy. "Can't we go back?" "No," I said. "It was all built on a lie. I heard you and Bethany yesterday. That wasn't a one-time slip. It was a full-on emotional affair. While I poured everything into you, you were giving yourself to someone else. That's how it feels," I cut in. "Like getting blindsided by the one person I trusted." "Tom, please," she begged. "No. I told you already, pack your stuff. Be gone when I'm back. After that, it's lawyers. You're throwing away 30 years over this," she cried. "I'll stop. I swear we'll get through it." "That's the dumbest thing you could have said," I snapped. "Saying you'll stop means it's still going. Don't stop. Go to him. I'm pushing 50. I'm done with cheaters. I need someone who's with me, not stabbing me in the back." I hung up before she could say more. She called again. I let it ring, then blocked her number. At the Cleveland Auto Expo, I went through my usual drill, wiping down the Camaro, checking the tires, buffing every inch till it gleamed. Strolled the lot, snapped a few pics, gave tight smiles to folks passing by, but kept my distance. Normally, Diane would have been right there, laughing with the other wives, swapping stories about kids or road trips. This time, I was a ghost. Someone finally asked, "Where's your wife, Tom?" "Back home," I said, forcing a grin. Inside, I was hollow, like someone had carved out a piece of me. That night, I ate alone at the motel diner. Usually, we'd drive back after the show. Not this time. No rush to get home. Pulled into the driveway the next afternoon, and my gut twisted. Diane's car was still there. So was my brother-in-law's truck and some rental sedan. At first, I figured she'd rented it, or maybe Jared was here to hash things out with Bethany. But when I stepped inside, I knew I'd misread it. Bethany and Jared were there, along with Diane's parents, looking like they'd been hit by a bus. Diane sat between her mom and Bethany, both trying to soothe her. "It's gonna be okay," her mom whispered. I didn't even close the door before I spoke. "Why were you still here?" "So was my brother-in-law's truck and some rental sedan. At first, I figured she'd rented it, or maybe Jared was here to hash things out with Bethany. But when I stepped inside, I knew I'd misread it. Bethany and Jared were there, along with Diane's parents, looking like they'd been hit by a bus. Diane sat between her mom and Bethany, both trying to soothe her. "It's gonna be okay," her mom whispered. I didn't even close the door before I spoke. "Why were you still here?" My voice was ice, and they all froze, shocked at the edge in it. "Keep the car," I said to Diane. "It was a gift, so it's yours. I'll cover the payments, but you're getting your own insurance." Her dad, Walt, stood up. "Tom, let's sit down and talk. You've been a damn good son-in-law." "Yeah," and I was thrilled when Diane picked me over that washed-up linebacker, I cut in. "Wish she'd gone with Greg. I could have moved on and dodged this mess." "Come on, Tom," Walt said, his smile heavy. "Every marriage hits bumps. Me and Diane's mom nearly called it quits after I blew a paycheck at a casino in Atlantic City. This ain't that bad." "Ain't that bad?" I snapped. "She's been having an affair, Walt. Not a one-night slip. A long, drawn-out thing." "What?" His eyes went wide. "I thought, no, you're saying she's been stepping out for a while?" "Found out yesterday," I said. "Caught her chewing out Bethany for the same damn thing." Bethany's face was drained of color. "Bethany?" Jared's voice cracked. "He's making this up, right?" Bethany stared at the floor, silent. Diane broke into sobs. Clearly, she hadn't told her folks a thing. Jared and Bethany started yelling, voices overlapping. I slipped upstairs to unpack, tuning it out. Diane followed me. Happy now, she hissed. You made me look like a tramp in front of my parents. You tanked our daughter's marriage, too. I turned, calm as stone. I told the truth. Something you still can't do. You haven't said one word about your affair. I don't want details. I just want you gone. As for Bethany, I warned her to tell Jared. She didn't. So I did. I stepped into the garage, grabbed the car wash kit, and rolled it out to the driveway. The sun was dipping low, painting everything gold. I got to work, scrubbing the road grime off my Camaro. A voice broke my focus. You really think now's the time to wash your car? I glanced over. Walt stood at the edge of the driveway, arms folded. Tomorrow's Monday, I said, not looking up. I've got work, and this car's filthy. It's too nice to leave like this. He paused. Don't you think you should be sorting things out with Diane? I kept scrubbing. Nothing to sort. It's done. He frowned. Just like that? Exactly like that, I said, finally meeting his eyes. I asked her who she was with. She wouldn't say. That told me all I needed. She cared more about covering for him than saving us. I exhaled, stepping back from the hood. I thought she was my everything, I said, voice low. Gave her all I had. And the whole time, she was sneaking around. Who knows how long. She called yesterday, said she was sorry, but it hit me, she's still with him. Walt just watched, saying nothing. There's no fixing this, I added. Take her with you when you go. I'm done wasting my life on someone who lied to my face. He stepped closer, voice quiet. I'm a lawyer, Tom. I know how these things go. I'm pissed, too, believe me. But Diane loves you. I told her not to leave yet, not till a court says so. Staying gives you both a shot to talk. I'm gonna fight the divorce filing and push for court-ordered counseling. I stopped, hands on my hips, and faced him. No court's gonna make me take back a cheater. She said she'll stop, he said, softer. That's something. I grabbed the hose, twisted the nozzle, and let the water flow. Try whatever you want, I said, turning back to the car. Jared stormed off, tires squealing. A few minutes later, Bethany came out, eyes puffy. How could you do this? She asked. I didn't answer, just kept washing, waxing, polishing. Everyone was staring like I was putting on a show, but I didn't give a damn. My car was the only thing that still made sense. When I finished, I headed inside, grabbed another suitcase from the closet, and started packing. Diane stood in the doorway, arms crossed. I'm not going anywhere, she said, voice steady. My dad says any decent lawyer would tell me to stay put. So unless you're gonna drag me out, I'm staying. I didn't look up. We can't talk without it turning ugly. And I'm not dumb enough to touch you. I'll let the court kick you out. I'll crash somewhere else till it's sorted, I said, zipping up the suitcase. Diane's voice shot up. You can't just bail, Tom. We've gotta fix this. It's beyond fixing, I said, my voice flat as asphalt. You don't want to fix it, she fired back. I didn't break it, I said, cold as a winter morning. My lawyer will reach out to your dad once I've got one lined up, probably tomorrow. I don't want, she started, but I cut her off. We've been over this. My insides were churning, but I kept my face stone still. No way I'd let her see how bad she'd gutted me. Right then, my phone buzzed, an unexpected rope to grab. It was my buddy from the cabin up at Lake Erie. Tom, the grass at your place is wild, he said. Damn near a fire risk. Want me to cut it? Yeah, go for it, I said. I'll swing by tomorrow to square up. No need, just Venmo me. Nah, I said, already fishing for my keys. I'll come by. I hadn't planned to stay at the cabin, was gonna motel hop till the courts settled things. But now? That little place felt like a lifeline. Diane could have the Columbus house. I'd take the cabin. Smaller, sure, but it had a stove, a decent TV, and I could get the Wi-Fi back on. Only catch was the 45-minute drive. No big deal, I live for the road. Next morning, after swinging by the factory to check on things, I called my attorney. He didn't do divorces but hooked me up with a guy who did. The new lawyer jumped on it. Laid out 2 options: file for divorce citing infidelity, give Diane nothing but the car and her clothes, and sue the guy she was with, totally legal in Ohio. Or go no fault, toss her a small settlement to get her started. Don't ask who she was with, he warned. Won't do you any good. Focus on moving forward. He'd seen hundreds of divorces and dropped some wisdom he always shared: marriages don't usually die because of evil people, just dumb choices and selfish streaks. The clients who let go and chased what lit them up again. They thrived. The ones who clung to grudges. They withered fast. I didn't fully buy it, but I nodded, wrote him a check, and he said he'd have papers ready in a few days for a sit-down with Diane and her dad. I gave him Walt's number. Tried to bury myself in work after that, thinking routine would keep me steady. It didn't. Right before lunch, my assistant, Carla, buzzed me. "You've got a call," she said. Carla'd been with me since I took over the business, usually screening Diane's calls. I figured I'd better loop her in soon. Thinking it was a client, I picked up. "Tom Harper," I said, clipped. "Diane Harper," she shot back, her tone light but forced, like she was trying to charm me. "Calling to talk some sense into my husband." "You serious?" I said. "You called to ask if I've got a lawyer?" "I can't believe you went that far," she said, her voice climbing. "Yeah, I did," I said, deadpan. "That's what happens when you're done. Your dad already spilled your plan, staying put, dragging it to court, pushing counseling. He laid it all out." "Listen, Tom," she said, softening. Don't call me that," I snapped. "Save the sweet talk for the guy you're sleeping with." Silence. Then, quiet, she said, "I only stayed so we could talk. Dad thought if we had time, you'd cool off. When I found out, Diane, all I asked was who he was. You gave me nothing." I let the pause sit heavy. "You chose him over our marriage. Hope he's worth it, 'cause when this is done, you're out, and you're getting the bare minimum the law allows." Her voice broke. "You don't mean that." "I'll tell you everything, just ask." "Don't care anymore," I said, stealing my tone. "My lawyer says it's time to move on." "He's right. I want a clean break." "That's what I want, too," she rushed out. "A fresh start, together. We can fix this." "You're not hearing me," I said, firm. "I want a new start without you. I need someone I can trust, someone who loves me for real." "We're not done, Tom," she pushed, desperation leaking through. "We've been through too much for something this small to wreck us. We've got a kid." "Goodbye, Diane," I said, and hung up. 3 hours later, my phone lit up again. Bethany. "Dad, why are you doing this?" she asked, voice soft. "Doesn't Mom deserve better after all these years?" "Bethany," I said, keeping my cool, "when someone cheats on their spouse for years, they don't get a pass. They get consequences. I never did your mom wrong. Loved her from day one. Stayed loyal. If anyone deserves better, it's me." She went quiet. I leaned in, gentle but pointed. "Let me ask you something. If you found out I'd been stepping out on your mom for years, messing around with assistants or clients, whose side would you take?" "Probably Mom's," she admitted. "But I'd still want you guys together. No kid wants their parents split." "Then why aren't you on my side now?" "I didn't cheat." A long pause. "Maybe because it feels like my fault," she whispered. "If I hadn't blurted it out, none of this would have happened." "You mean I'd still be in the dark?" I said. "How's that better?" "Why didn't you tell me, Bethany? Was I a bad dad?" "No, never," she said fast, her voice wobbling. "I should have told you. Mom said it was over, said you knew. I didn't want you telling Jared. He's so hurt now. He used to look at me the way you looked at Mom. Now it's different. Even if we patch it up, it won't feel the same." "You're lucky it was one time," I said. "Jared's pissed, and he should be. But he loves you. He might come around. You still cheated, though. That hurt doesn't just vanish." "I was drunk," she sobbed. "Bethany, enough," I said, my tone sharpening. "You're grown. You know better. If you're married and your husband's not around, you don't drink yourself stupid. And don't kid yourself, you told your mom you weren't that wasted. Said you even thought about doing it again. You knew what you were doing. She sniffled. I've learned my lesson. I didn't see how much Jared does for me, how beat he is working extra hours for us. Could you see it now? I said. Then she asked, what about Mom? She wants to fix things with you. It's different, I said, hard. Your mom wasn't drunk. She wasn't confused, Bethany, I said, my voice steady. She chose to stab me in the back, over and over, eyes wide open. There's no coming back from that. She loves you, Dad, Bethany said, her tone soft. I don't think she can handle this without you. That's not my problem anymore, I replied. She's got her other guy. Let him deal with it. I'm not playing backup in this mess. I've got to move on. I softened a bit. I hope you and Jared work things out. Take care, kid. 3 days later, I saw Diane again, sitting across a polished table in my lawyer's office. She was dressed sharp, hair freshly done, still stunning even with a few extra lines on her face. What are you looking at? She asked, catching my stare. Just thinking you're still beautiful, I said, and wondering how the hell I'm supposed to get over you. You don't have to, she said, a faint smile flickering. Yeah, I do, I shot back. It'll take time, but I'll be fine. Her smile vanished. Tom, we've got to stop this before it's too late. My lawyer jumped in. My client's here to discuss divorce options. He's being fair, offering a choice on how this goes. Why should I agree to any of it? Diane snapped. I love my husband. This is insane. I'm not giving up. Diane, please, her dad, Walt, warned. My lawyer slid 2 stacks of papers across the table. What's this? Walt asked. 2 paths, the lawyer said. We suggest no-fault divorce, clean, quick, easier on everyone. If she fights it, we'll file for infidelity. The only thing up for grabs is the settlement amount. This is ridiculous, Walt said. You're tossing her out with just a car and her clothes. She cheated for years, I said, voice hard. Won't say who or how long. Let her boyfriend take care of her now. I kept my vows. I was loyal. I loved you, too. Diane yelled. And I didn't cheat. Then what's it called when you're sneaking around with someone else for years? I fired back. You think I'm just gonna shrug that off? My lawyer waved me down. I'm petitioning for mandatory counseling, Walt said. They still care about each other. No need, my lawyer replied. My client's on board. He'll even cover the cost. You pick the therapist. Wait, I started, but my lawyer's look shut me up. If counseling doesn't work, he added, we move forward with the divorce. It's Mrs. Harper's call. He turned to Diane. Court records are public. Fault divorce means everyone, neighbors, friends, knows the dirty details. No fault keeps it private. Diane's face stayed blank. Half the town will call you names, he said, blunt. Let them, she said. I'm not giving up on Tom. Walt shook his head. Where's this $200 a week income coming from? He drives a car like that. Sounds like shady accounting. No kids involved, my lawyer said. She might get $15,000 over 3 years. He owned the house before they married. She won't touch it. That's not fair, Walt said. Fair? I snapped. I carried her for 25 years while she had a side piece. I wanted a wife to grow old with, not a part-time partner and a full-time liar. If this was a business deal, I'd sue for fraud. The room went quiet as Diane started sobbing. You don't get it, she choked out. I love you, Tom. Always have. We can grow old together. I wanted that, I said. But not with someone else in the mix. We're getting nowhere, my lawyer said. If Mrs. Harper doesn't settle after counseling, we file for infidelity. You've got 3 days to pick a therapist. My client will show up. Can I just tell him who it is? Diane asked. We only talk in sessions, I said. No private chats. You could stay at the house during therapy, she said. Separate rooms. It's still your home. I'm not risking anything, I said. This is legal now. I've got other plans. You're really walking away, she asked, tears streaming. You won't even try to fix it? You broke it, I said. I'm just trying to piece my life back together. Less than an hour later, my phone rang. Diane and Walt had picked a therapist. My lawyer had already checked her out. When I got to the office, the therapist greeted us, a tall woman with big glasses and a calm vibe. Let's arrange the chairs, she said. Anywhere that feels open for talking. I grabbed a seat. Diane dragged hers right next to mine. I shot her a look. The therapist raised an eyebrow. Interesting, she said. What? I read your file, she said. I know Diane's the one who cheated. Most people in your spot would have scooted their chair away when their spouse got close. You didn't. Wonder why? I shrugged. My goal's simple, she said. Whatever happens, I want you both to leave here better off. Mrs. Harper, why are you here? To stop the divorce, Diane said. I want to save our marriage. And you, Mr. Harper? To speed it up, I said. She looked surprised. My lawyer knew they'd push for therapy, I explained. If we waited for a court to order it, we'd be stuck 6 weeks just for a ruling, then months of sessions. By agreeing now, I shave 3 months off. I get my divorce faster. So you've already decided it's over? She asked. It is. Mr. Harper, why'd your marriage fail? My wife cheated, I said. I'm done being tied to someone who betrayed me. Mrs. Harper, do you agree? No, Diane said, firm. He doesn't understand. I love him. I want our marriage. He doesn't understand, I cut in, because she's told me nothing. I don't know when it started, how it happened, or who the guy is. I don't even know what I did to deserve this. I gave her everything. You were the best husband anyone could ask for, she said, tears spilling. It didn't start. It just, never stopped. Wait, never stopped. I stood, my chair scraping back. It's Greg, isn't it? Diane crumpled, sobbing, her shoulders shaking as she sank onto the therapist's couch. The therapist leaned in, voice soft. Diane, breathe. But I was already at the door. Mr. Harper, where are you going? She called. I gripped the knob, pausing. I'm done here, I said, calm but final. You're paid in full, but this case is closed. What do you mean? She asked, worried in her eyes. I half-turned. When I met Diane, she was caught up with a guy who cheated on her left and right. What I didn't see was she never cut him loose. We never got physical before marriage, not once. But apparently, she never stopped seeing him, I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Diane let out a choked sob, but I kept going. Their history goes back way before us. Fine. My only regret? Propping her up all these years, thinking she was straight with me. The therapist's tone softened. What's next? I'm getting a DNA test for Bethany, I said. She's never been like me. If Greg's her father, I'll sue him for every cent I spent raising her. And if my whole marriage to Diane was a sham, I'll push for an annulment, fraud. She married me under false pretenses. I opened the door, glancing back one last time. They might owe me a fortune. Either way, I'm out. I walked away without another look. At my lawyer's office, I laid it all out. He dove in, no hesitation. 2 days later, my world blew up. I was suddenly infamous, hated by some, pitted by others. Walt was livid. Diane's mom was crushed. Bethany was a wreck. Greg called, spitting threats. Some random guy even asked to meet. Then Walt stormed into my office. Damn it, Tom, what's happened to you? I fell in love, I said, and got played. Let it go, he said. Diane's in the hospital. Do I care? I shot back. She cheated for 25 years. She was never really mine. And you're asking me to feel bad? He sighed, sinking into a chair. I get it. But Bethany's your daughter. He glanced around. Got anything to drink? I shook my head. Right, he said, a faint smile. You don't drink. Always like that about you. I raised an eyebrow. Thought you never cared for me. Nah, he said, leaning forward. When I met you, I was just thrown. Everyone bet on Diane ending up with Greg. But once I saw what a deadbeat he was, I was damn glad she picked you. You made her happy. I saw it. If I'd known she was still tangled up with him, I'd have shut it down. His eyes locked on mine. No matter what, she loves you. And Bethany's your kid. I didn't answer. You don't need a DNA test, he added. Greg's too dumb to be her father. I let out a dry laugh. Doesn't change a thing, I said. I raised her, gave her my values, and loved her from the day she was born. But if Greg's her biological dad, he's paying me back. Simple as that. I paused, then met his gaze. You're missing it, Walt. Greg didn't wreck this. I wanted a real partner. Instead, I got someone whose heart was always split. You're wrong, he said. She gave you her life, her time, her love. Greg got a few guilty hookups. You got the real stuff. Even if it was just a couple times, I said, voice low, it was still wrong. I know, he nodded. But life's not clean-cut. It's messy, full of shades. Just think about it. Your wife's in the hospital. Doesn't she deserve a visit? That evening, as I headed to my car, Bethany was there, curled up in the passenger seat, tears streaming. So I'm not your daughter, she whispered. I'll do the test, but I've never even met that guy. How could you think I'm his? Before I could answer, she threw her arms around me, sobbing. You're always my girl, I said, holding her tight. This isn't about you. It's about making him pay. Dad, what's he gonna pay? She asked, pulling back. I was so mad, I asked Mom about him. He's a nobody, fat, broke, bitter, married to some lowlife, stuck in a dead-end job, cheating on her just like he did with Mom. His own mom said he always used protection. He's got no kids, never did. I'm not his. She searched my face. What's wrong? It's not you, I said. It's just, your mom and I never used condoms. Once she was on the pill, we didn't bother. But if she was getting them for him, she planned it. It wasn't a slip-up. That's what cuts deep. I went to see Diane at the hospital. She was hooked up to monitors, IVs dripping, but awake. Her eyes locked on mine as I stepped in, flashing with feeling, then sharpening into anger. Here to rub it in, she said, voice cold. Your dad asked me to come, I said. I can go. I stayed, sitting on the edge of her bed. What happened? After you left therapy, I had a panic attack, she said. They thought it was my heart at first. Blood pressure was sky high. She paused, then spoke softer. I've only ever loved 2 men, Tom. You think I'm trash, but I've only been with 2 people. If that makes me awful, I'm the worst at it. She swiped at her eyes. I didn't cheat to hurt you. It wasn't some scheme. It just happened. When I met you, I was still with Greg. You knew that, but you kept coming around. You made me feel like I was worth something. Her voice broke. I fell for you, too. But I never fully stopped caring for him. I hated how he treated me, but feelings don't just switch off. My life was already mapped out with him before you showed up. Suddenly, you were the other guy. Even before we got physical, it felt like I was betraying him. She stared at the blanket, fingers knotting the fabric. You could have had me any time, she whispered. I'd have said yes. But you didn't. You waited, because you're too damn decent. I didn't say a word. Diane kept talking, her voice raw. Things with Greg just kept getting worse. He was cheating, we were flat broke, and I hated that life. But when I called you, Tom, you always showed up. Made me feel like I was worth something. Tears glistened in her eyes. I never lied to you. I loved you, still do. Wanted it all, marriage, kids, growing old together. Her tone shifted, sharp and hurt. And don't give me that look. You're still my husband. I can call you what I want. She tried to smile, but it crumbled fast. I had our wedding all planned out. Then Greg called. Said he was sorry, a wreck after bombing out of football. Begged for help, said I owed him one last shot. She looked away. I told him about you. He got pissed and hung up. Days later, he called back, calmer, said I gave you a chance, so I should give him one, too. And I did. We started talking, then, sleeping together. I shut my eyes, bracing myself. I didn't want to, she said. It was guilt. He made me feel like I'd used him, like I owed him. And part of me bought it. She wiped her face. You gave me money for that dress. I showed it to you, but the rest went to him, rent, food. He leaned on it, made me feel like his failures were my fault. She sniffled. It wasn't every week. Maybe once or twice a month. And I always made him use protection. That's why you're worried about Bethany. I get it. Get the DNA test. When it shows she's yours, I hope you tell her you're sorry. Her voice shook. I cut Greg off after Bethany was born. That's when I saw him for what he was. She swallowed hard. He never loved me, Tom. He was into blondes. Only stuck with me because I helped him scrape through school. He came back for your cash. I was too dumb to see it. She looked shattered. One day, I brought him money, showed up early. Bethany was a few months old. We hadn't been physical in ages. He said I looked like a cow. I heard him through the door, laughing with some woman. Her voice turned bitter, mimicking him. I only keep her around for the money. She's boring, whiny, not my type. A minute later, this woman waddled out, heavy, missing teeth, smirking like she'd won a prize. Then Greg stepped out. Diane's voice shrank. I stopped taking his calls, but he started threatening to tell you everything. So I kept going back. Figuring once or twice a month wasn't much. It wasn't like what we had. Just a price to pay. For every 10 times I was with you, I owed him one. Most times, I just laid there, thinking about errands. She took a shaky breath. I'd see him while you were at work, then hit the store. I loved you with everything, Tom, but part of me couldn't let him go. She met my eyes, hollow. Now you know it all. I turned and walked out. Diane's screams chased me, begging me to stay, but I didn't look back. 25 years is a long time, but I still knew the rundown part of town near their old apartment in Indiana. I drove until I found him, Greg, slouched on a porch, barely human. Bloated, limping, unshaven, teeth gone, tethered to an oxygen tank. I stepped out and called his name. He looked up, eyes cloudy but recognizing me. A woman next to him frowned. How's our girl? He rasped, grinning through rotted gums. I charged, one punch to his gut dropping him. His oxygen tube snapped free, and he wheezed, clawing for air. I kicked him, hard, again and again. He could only groan. Then darkness. I came to with smelling salts burning my nose, cuffs on my wrists. A paramedic hovered. Greg's wife had clocked me with a board from the porch. Cops yanked me up. I said I didn't need a hospital. One officer drove my Camaro to the station. Scratch it, and I'll sue, I warned. They cuffed me to the wheel, let me drive with a cop in the passenger seat. What kind of guy beats a diabetic on oxygen? He asked, revolted. I told him everything, years of betrayal, blackmail, lies. Tell the DA, he said. Might walk. I called my lawyer. 2 hours later, I was out, no charges. If I agreed to talk to Diane, she'd back up the blackmail story, giving me leverage. In exchange for Greg dropping his assault claim, I dropped mine. Honestly, I didn't care. Guy was a husk, wouldn't last a year. Diane was still in the hospital. Walt kept calling, pushing me to drop the divorce, saying she was improving, eager to see me. Diane called, too. Can you come back? Don't make me wait a week. I went. She looked vibrant, like the girl I met all those years ago. Hi, love, she said, beaming. I'm so happy. Happy about what? I asked. I helped you, she said. Greg's no threat anymore. And Bethany, she's yours. Like they'd say on TV, you are the father. It's all gonna be fine. I want to believe that, I said. Yeah, you helped, but only after I agreed to talk. Diane, I gave you 25 years, everything I had. The one time I needed you, you made it conditional. That's not love. She went quiet. And Greg, I said, he's still a threat because you never let him go. You haven't said the one thing that matters, that it's over. She blinked, stunned. You've never looked me in the eye and sworn it's done for good. Her jaw dropped. And Bethany, I added, I always knew she was mine. I just needed to shake her up, make her see straight. She got my stubborn streak and your knack for rationalizing anything, I said, watching Diane's face crumple as tears spilled. You helped me more than you know, though. When you told the DA your story, it went on public record. Now I can push for an annulment, fraud. Our marriage was built on a lie. You've got some time before court. Might want to start packing. Her heart monitor let out a shrill beep. I glanced at it, then back at her. Take care, Diane, I said, and walked out. 3 weeks later, I was leaning on the railing of a massive cruise ship, the Caribbean stretching endless before me. The open sea churned my stomach, not fear, just a nod to something that could swallow you whole. 1 week left on my 2-week trip. The morning breeze made me tug a hoodie over my island cruise t-shirt, with a sleek Corvette splashed across it. My phone buzzed, a local number. Then I remembered it was already noon back in Columbus. My brothers loved spamming me during work hours. Diane was blocked. My lawyer stuck to 1 call a day. A tug on my sleeve snapped me out of it. I turned. Nobody. Then a voice piped up behind me. That's rude. I spun around. A tiny woman stood there, barely reaching my chest. I'm 5 feet 10 inches, she couldn't have been over 4 feet 11 inches. Fiery red curls, freckles dusting her nose, and emerald eyes that popped. You jumping? She asked, casual as anything. Hell no, I said. Why'd you even ask? If you were, I wanted your shirt, she said, deadpan. No shade. I've thought about it myself. That's the worst way to go, I said. Like slamming into pavement, then freezing, then drowning. Thanks for the TED Talk, she smirked. If I spiral again, I'll pick something less grim. What'd make you spiral? I asked, genuinely curious. What do you mean, me, she said, eyes narrowing. If this is a short joke, save it. Didn't mention height, I said, cautious. Just meant you seem lively, sharp, kind of great. That's all I get, she laughed. Thought you were about to say something bold. Scared I'll chew you out? Didn't want to overstep, I said. So, is this a real talk now, she asked. If it is, you've got 2 options, come inside, have breakfast with me, or hand over the shirt. I'm freezing. I grinned, offered my hand. She took it, small, warm, sparking something I hadn't felt in ages. We stepped into a cozy ship restaurant, ordered breakfast, and got to talking. She stuck out her hand again. Jenna Coleman. Tom Harper, I said, shaking it. Over waffles and coffee, we traded stories. She'd married her high school boyfriend, stuck it out 18 years, then came home to find him with her cousin. Turned out he'd resented her height, their struggles to have kids, and had 2 children with the cousin. She divorced him, wished them well, and took a cruise ticket he'd won in a radio contest to escape, unsure where life was headed but craving freedom. When I told her my story, her jaw dropped. Wow, what a piece of work, she said about Diane. By the time we finished, the sun was blazing. What's your plan today? I asked. Maybe a movie, she said, smiling. You? Thought we could hang on deck a bit, I said. I know we just met, but I like talking to you. You've got this, fire. I like you too, Tom, she said. But heads up, I'm a redhead. I don't tan, I torch. Then let's find something inside, I said. I don't want to wait till dark. Her smile hooked me, and just like that, I was in deep. The rest of the cruise, we were glued together, except to sleep. Talked about everything, life, dreams, regrets. I half-joked about her joining my company. But the last day stood out. That's when we kissed. I knew it was messy, I was still technically married, but it felt like the first real thing in years. Her lips were soft, tasting faintly of cherry lip balm. The kiss turned hungry fast, her arms around my neck, legs wrapping my waist. Bed, she murmured, voice low between kisses. I don't play by rules, just live. So we did. Spent the whole day in my cabin, tangled up, lost in each other. Later, after a nap, she curled against me, holding tight. That night, we dressed, ate dinner, and strolled the deck in silence, saying everything with a look. I've never done this, she said. You're a quick study, I teased. She swatted my arm. I was married 18 years, genius. I mean, I've never felt like that, so wanted, so alive. Sounds like a goodbye, I said, voice tight. It's not, she said. but I've been trapped in a small Kentucky town with a guy who never saw me. I want to see the world, chase more. Always have. My heart sank. She'd pulled me out of a dark place in just a week, only to slip away. She lifted her chin, waiting for a farewell kiss. A tear slid down her cheek. I froze. Was I this fragile? About to fall for another fleeting spark? Destined to chase every flicker of warmth? She didn't wait. Kissed me again, deep, unapologetic. I pulled her close. Easy, cowboy, she whispered. We're not hitting the sheets yet, but you'll get another shot. She cut me off with another kiss. I suck at goodbyes. Don't look for me tomorrow. Just keep me in your head and live. She grabbed the t-shirt I'd lent her from the closet. Taking this, a piece of you to hold on to. Then she was gone. The next day was a blur, airports, noise, my phone blowing up. My lawyer, Bethany, my brothers, all pissed I'd gone radio silent for a week. Back in Columbus, I dove into work. My brothers, who can't stand each other, left the office without a word. Carl, the older one, muttered, he's a moron, about Vincent, who'd sworn he'd never cover for me again and told me to train someone else. Later, Carla, my assistant, filled me in. While I was gone, both brothers had fooled around with our new receptionist, then turned on each other. Carla fired her, but the office was a circus. Now, it seemed, all three of us were on track to be single, just like Pop. I called my lawyer. The judge felt for my story but wouldn't grant an annulment, too shaky for fraud. He'd greenlight a divorce if we could agree on fair terms. My lawyer and Walt haggled for over a week, getting nowhere. Walt was banking on Diane changing my mind. Finally, Diane agreed to move out, but only if I met her when I got back. I kept my word and showed up at Bethany's place. I'm here, I said. What do you want to talk about? Same thing I always do, Diane said, voice soft. Us. For the next half hour, she threw out every excuse in the book to justify decades of cheating. Said I was blowing it out of proportion, that I was just jealous. How is it fine for me to spend all that time with you when I was engaged to Greg? She argued. But it's not okay for me to spend a little time with a dying man now that I'm with you. This is about your pride, Tom, Diane said, her voice sharp. You were fine sharing me when I was Greg's, but now you can't handle sharing anything. That's your real problem. Then came her last-ditch effort. Tom, I loved you both. Maybe you treated me better, but you had the money to. I can't ditch Greg now, not when he's sick. He's got maybe 5 years left. We barely even sleep together anymore. I gave a bitter smile. Oh, so it's funny now that he can't get it up? She bristled. I shook my head. No, it's just, that cruise cleared my head. I used to think our marriage was crumbling because I wasn't enough. Thought you were the only woman for me. Diane frowned. So what did you figure out? That I was the only one trying? No, I said. I was the one compromising, sacrificing, clinging to hope we could fix it. You never tried. Never took the one step that could have saved us. Her eyes narrowed. What step? You never cut Greg off. You're still seeing him, still trying to live in both worlds. Like you did in college when you thought he'd go pro, she shot back. I shrugged. Fine. You don't have to choose anymore. Her tone softened, hopeful. What about the divorce? Forget it, I said. Not worth the legal fees. Her face lit up. I knew you'd come around. I can't wait for you to come home. Tell that to Greg, I said, voice flat. She reached for me. I stepped back. What's wrong? She asked. I just wanted a kiss. Kiss Greg. You're being ridiculous, she said. I'm not jealous, Diane, I said, calm but distant. I just don't care anymore. Do what you want. Dropping the divorce doesn't mean I'm coming back. We're not together. She froze, mouth open, speechless. I won, I went on. You're out of my house. Now I just need to find someone who actually makes me happy and move her in. She stood there, stunned. Wishing you and Greg the best, I said, heading for the door. Tell him I said hi. On my way out, I spotted Jared by the driveway. Jared, I called. Want to come work for me? I need someone solid, someone I can trust when I need a break. He looked thrown. Let me think it over. Later that day, the voicemails piled up. Diane's parents were furious. With no divorce finalized, she got nothing, no money, no access, no support. At nearly 50, she had to move back in with them, her constant sobbing driving them up the wall. Greg was raging, too. Diane's cash flow had dried up. She left a string of nasty voicemails from Bethany's phone. Hers was cut off. Credit cards declined, house locks changed. She finally got the worst part of what I'd said. I was talking about someone else. In the days after, I threw myself into work, got the factory humming again. Steered clear of spots where I might bump into Diane. I just wanted peace. It was Saturday evening, and I was out front washing my Camaro when she showed up. Not Diane, Jenna. Wearing the t-shirt she'd swiped 8 days ago. "Wash mine next," she said, a playful grin spreading. I froze. "How'd you?" "You spilled your whole life story," she said, stepping closer. "Your company name, your town, not hard to track down. You never mentioned the Camaro, though." "You didn't say much either," I shot back. "Why do you think I took the shirt?" She smirked. I grinned, unsure. "So why were you here?" "Not just passing through," she said, voice softening. "I'm staying." "Thought you wanted to see the world." "Thought so too," she said, until I was gone 6 hours and realized I screwed up. My head wouldn't shut up, arguing with itself the whole way back. Worried it was too soon. I just got out of a long, bad marriage. But then I remembered how you made me feel in 1 week, better than 18 years with him. That's worth sticking around for. She was close now, her body brushing mine. Then I had another argument with myself. She went on. "You never said you loved me, never said you wanted more, just that I was kind of great. But I saw it in your eyes, you didn't want me to leave." She wrapped her arms around me, pulling me into a hug. "Got a receptionist spot open," I teased, murmuring into her ear. She kissed me, cherry lip balm again. "Can't have it," I whispered. "Why not?" she asked, eyes sparkling. "If I'm staring at you all day, I'll never get a damn thing done." "Guess I should leave then," she teased. "Try it, and we'll have a problem," I said, playful but firm. "I don't do problems," she murmured, holding me tighter. "I need to tell you something," I said. "I already know." "No, Jenna, this is big," I said. She looked up, serious. "I'm serious about you, too." Didn't hit me till I left. "I called off the divorce," I said, quiet. Her eyes widened. She stepped back, leaning against the damp hood of my Camaro. "After all she did?" "Judge wouldn't buy fraud," I explained. "Said he'd approve a divorce if we settled on money, but fighting her in court wasn't worth it." "Then cut her a check," Jenna said. "Life's too short." "Exactly," I said, and told her about Diane's legal stalling, how I'd walked away from the fight, the house, all of it. "So she's not living with you?" Jenna asked. "Nope," I said. "You are." Her face softened. "You still got feelings for her?" "Forgot her the second I met you," I said. Jenna smiled. That was all she needed. "That's enough for me," she said. From then on, we picked up where we left off on the ship, no looking back. She'd swing by the factory when she missed me, which was a lot. Carla, my assistant, loved her on sight. Jared, who'd taken the job, thought she was great, too.